day, and I go back and I think about your show, um, and late in the winter here, when you look beyond the paint, you can see a lot of comic strips and
Yeah, yeah,
things
yeah.
behind it. What influenced that?
Well, the more recent work I've been doing a lot of collage, and so it's all just found materials. But usually, a good bulk of it is just old comics from the 80s and
Mm-hmm.
the 70s. And I like using those older comics partly because, back then the printing techniques weren't as solid, so you'd have a lot of misprinting. You'd have like, off register color. You'd have like ink, where the black was smudging or
Yeah.
something like that. And then the paper's older, so it's yellowed and it's aged and it's got a patina to it. So all that stuff's really interesting to me.
Where are you finding them?
I just go to bargain bins and comic book stores. So there's there's like collectible bulk and vintage stock and Prairie Dog Comics and Wizards Asylum.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's in Wichita.
Those are all in Wichita. And so I'll just go to one of those places, collectible bulk usually, and I'll just go thumb through the dollar bin and just grab, a stack of 20 or 30 books, and that usually lasts me a few months worth of painting. And but yeah, usually the first layer of every painting is comics.
In your most recent,
yeah, in the last couple years, I've been doing these collage, but even like I'm doing these. Starting to work on these new kind of abstracted faces and there's one over here, but and those have the comic books too. That's kind of got the collage. With those, I'm doing more drawings and then cutting those up and collaging those together.
Now, looking at this piece, how long? Well, I want to ask how long does it take to do a piece, but one thing that I notice about how you work, it's so many at once, it seems like.
Yeah.
I think I know the answer to this, but what is the reason for taking on so many? Because it seems like by the end of it, you just have this abundance of work, and a bulk of anything, you're bound to hate some of the pieces as well.
Well, yeah, you end up hating the majority of it. I think if you're, most artists, I think if you really ask them, they hate most of their own work. But I think we're very critical, and I'm definitely critical of my own stuff. But just like right now, I'm going through a bunch of that older work that I made last year, and I'm saying, well, these all suck.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna take the belt sander to them and sand them down and rework them and turn them into something better, hopefully. So it's pretty common for me to recycle stuff because I don't like it. I decide 6 months later, after I live with it a while, I go, this didn't really work, and I'm gonna try to salvage this piece and make it work. But
with so many pieces, like let's say we go back 10 years to that one art show, you have all these faces and things like that. How do they survive? Where do they go? Or do after sitting there so long, do you just decide, let's scrap it and start over?
Yeah, I mean, the truth is probably, if let's say theoretically there's a show that has like 50 pieces in it. 10 years from then, I'm guessing half of those pieces have been recycled at least, and probably and then probably a fourth of them are probably still in my basement, like collecting dust, and then maybe I sold a few of them. That's kind of the probably realistically, like most of my stuff, I end up at some point pulling it out and saying, oh, I'll use this panel for something else. I'm not real, I don't get so attached to that older work. I feel like if it's not selling and I'm not really into it, why am I letting it